All right. Hello, everybody. It's Steve again, and I'm sitting in a flat in Cardiff, Wales. Um, it's my first full day here in Cardiff. I spent the day after 10 o'clock yesterday uh, in the UK. I caught a train from Heathrow into Paddington, and then train from Paddington through to Cardiff, and used my bus pass to get to the flat. I have a bus pass that allows me to take the bus anywhere I want in the city for a month. So I decided that that was the easiest way to get to the flat. And actually, the bus stop is right outside the flat. So picked up a few things after I got in and had some fish and chips, and then went to bed because jet lag is a fun thing. Got up this morning and decided, I was going to go into town. It had been raining, but fortunately, um, when I left to go into town, it had stopped. So I walked across the road and took the bus in the other direction and ended up in downtown. Well, really, I guess it should be called Down City, but anyway, you know what I mean. And about 9:30, quarter to 10, I was in town. Then I realized after being there a few minutes that nothing opens till 10. I walked into the market, and there were a few stalls open, those that were serving a breakfast. Um, Same familiar smells when you walked into the market. Uh, it hadn't really changed. Some of the stall owners were different, but the market itself was basically the same. But I came to a huge conclusion today. I had wanted to do this trip because I'd always thought that this was home. Cardiff was home to me. This is where I grew up from the age of 2.5 till about just a little after I was 14. We moved to Canada. And I've always told everybody that this was home. But like I said, I came to this huge awakening this morning. I walked around the market and I walked around to the big downtown mall, the St. David's Center, and went to Primark, which I went to last time I was here. And all of a sudden, it just really dawned on me. I was here by myself. I was wishing Kathy was with me, but she wasn't. And I realized that all the memories that I was reliving in Cardiff were not the memories that I had had as a child. Yes, there were a few of those, but not the ones that really meant anything to me. Um, the buses are all different. Everything is just. I mentioned I mentioned this to somebody in a store today. I was buying an umbrella, which when I walked in to pick it up, the guy says, "Yeah, you're going to need that today." And we got into talking about things. And last night I went for a little walk, and I walked up Caerphilly Road, which is where my flat is. And as I was walking by all the houses, I noticed something completely different um, to what it would have been when I lived here. Um, a lot of the fronts of the houses were very unkempt. They there was grass growing out of the walls around the. Um, it was the cars that were really didn't look like they belonged, and there were some really nice homes, and I kind of felt sorry for them because they had these really nice front yards, or as they would call here, front garden, pristine, done nicely, they paint nicely, and then the next door, all the paint was cracking, and it looked like people just didn't care. So I'm sharing this with the gentleman in the store downtown, and I guess he was in his mid 50s, maybe closer to 60. And he just looked at me and says, "Yeah, people don't care anymore here." And it was just, this wasn't the place I knew. They say you can never go back, and I had that in my mind, and I wasn't, really going back. That's not what was in my mind. It was just I wanted to. Well, to be honest with you, I didn't know what I really wanted. I had this um, picture in my mind that I guess was just fantasy. This was my home. All the way through my life, I haven't really realized what home is. And I would always tell people that, yeah, this is still my home. It's not my home. This is not my home. Um, yeah, it's nice to visit places that bring back memories from your youth, but it's not my home. And that struck me so much today. Um, like I said, walking around Cardiff, my memories were not memories of when I was a child or a teenager. They were memories of the time I spent here with Kathy. And hey, it hit me so hard. Um, yeah, I'm 70, and it's just finally dawning on me. Um, I miss Kathy. I wanted to share these things with her. And I realized home for me is not a place, it's the people. Being with Kathy, that's home. Sitting around watching TV with Kathy, that's home. Um, taking Kathy to Costco, that's home. This this fancy, this vision I had of this being my home was just that, a fantasy, a vision. It wasn't real. Um, and like I said, it hit me so hard that this is the place I grew up in, but this is not my home. I've always said that I envied Kathy in the sense that home for her was where she was. She we live no more than 2 or 3 blocks from where she grew up. She went to Fairview Public School, which was maybe an extra block or so away from where we're living now. She went to North Park, which we can see from in front of our condo. It just it just struck me so hard, and it's something that I guess part of me has been looking for it all my life, but not realizing that it's right there in front of me. Home is not a place. home is the people you are with. That's home. Um, Almost wish I could have got on a plane and just gone back, but I can't. I'm here, and I will make the best of my time here. I will go to places that I grew up and revisit them. Uh, but this whole clarity that I now have, it's here. You know, we can say, well, wish it, wish I had figured this out years ago. Well, I didn't. But I can look at this back and say, at least I have figured it out. There are some people that I know um, basically haven't and probably will never figure it out. It's just home. You know, they've always said, always heard home is where your heart is. And I struggle with that. Um, I always, to me, home was a physical place. People say, well, my home was, no, your home is. My home is with Kathy. My home is sharing my life with Kathy. And for so long, I struggled to find this. Utopia is not the right word, but to me, my entire life, home has been a place. Well, it's not a place. Um, the Cardiff looks rough. You know, when I lived here, this was a pristine town. It was clean. Everybody looked after what they had. It didn't matter whether your salary was £8 a week or £80 a week. Back then, people cared. Uh, People, they go to a soccer match or a rugby match with a suit and tie on. Yeah, maybe those things have changed, but there was some dignity um, to people. And like I said, it didn't matter what their income bracket was. They had pride in what they had. I walked past some of these houses um, on my way on my walk yesterday, and you could tell people just didn't care. I mean, where has this pride gone? Where has that feeling of I am really proud of my village, my town, my city, and my neighbors? I want to make my place look as good as it can so that my neighbors can appreciate it. I've had several conversations with people today in different venues. The one place that I bought the umbrella, and here's the funny thing: the, and I'm sure this happened to other people too. It had been raining. It wasn't a nice day, so I went in and bought this umbrella. And the gentleman said, "Ah, you need it today." Then I said, "No, I'm here for a month. I'll probably need it a lot more." And he laughed and said, "Yeah." And then we got into this conversation about the houses and told him I lived here till 69 and I just noticed this huge shift in what things just look dingy. They just don't, they look unkempt. So he basically, he said, yeah, people don't care. Um, Maybe that's a British mentality. Maybe it's a Cardiff mentality. Because I didn't see this when Kathy and I were in Kent 10 years ago. Um, we enjoyed walking through the little village we were in because things were looked after and looked really good. And we enjoyed the towns of Deal, Sandwich, and Broadstairs, they were always clean. Dover wasn't. Dover was the exception to us then. But over here, I feel a sense of, I'm not sure what I feel, to be honest with you. The people I've talked to, I mean, they're wonderful people. Everybody I've talked to, and they all say, yeah, the people around them just don't care anymore, which is why houses look like they do and stuff. Even when I went downtown, parts of the downtown, um, you see these videos online where they're talking about cities around Britain. Um, One of them is called Turd Towns, and yeah, you see it not just in the cities that they show, but in the parts of other cities, so cities that you would have thought were just incredible places to live. You know, my mom is back home. My daughter is back home. My grandchildren are back home. Here I am. I'm doing it subconsciously. Home is where my heart is. Home is right now. It physically it's in Brantford, but it's with the people, not with the place. And I'm just so glad this clarification has come. Late, but it's come. I recently, I think probably about 8 years ago, I had my mental health issues diagnosed correctly. And that was just an eye opener. And it was so great to be able to, yeah, that's why that happened. You get this whole thing in your head. You struggle with mental health issues for most of your life, and you can't understand why. And then all of a sudden have the correct diagnosis, and you can look back and say, wow, that's right, that's why. Okay. And things just seem to fall into place. It just, I guess I want this partially too to be not, not necessarily an apology, but more of an acknowledgement. The people that are part of my life that make home home, they're just so special. And I realize that I guess maybe all my life I've been trying to grasp to something that was already there. I had this vision in my head that home was someplace, yeah, someplace, but it's not. Home is not someplace. Home is where your heart is. That's home. Um, Cardiff's not my home. Although, if you'd asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said, this is my home. But it's not. It's not. My home is sitting there watching TV with Kathy. Like I said, my home is taking Kathy over to the mall, taking her out for ice cream. That's home. This is just a place. And in a way, I'm finding it partially disappointing in this place. Um, this place is not, well, like I say, you can't go back. It's not what I recall. I guess growing up, I don't think it would have mattered in the 60s whether I was in Cardiff, London, anywhere. There was more pride in what you had. I remember, Kathy can tell you, and other people can tell you, I enjoy watching a good soccer match. But back in the 60s, you had people who go to a soccer match dressed up with their shirt and tie and would go to the soccer match, or football as it is here. I guess I get caught up with the North Americans who call it soccer. We're living in total different time, and I guess I was looking back to when everything was not perfect, because it never has been perfect. We're maybe I'm looking back at times where it was a lot more innocent. Where the struggles were a little different, and they were a lot more shared. I mean, today we see a lot more mental illness around. Um, Stress is just incredible today, and I don't even think my parents were stressed, and the people that lived around us back in when I lived here, we just, you just did. You helped your neighbors. You were there for people, and they were there for you. I think a lot of that we've lost uh, due to the stress of life. We, oh, it's just, uh, okay, I'll cut that bit out. Life has just got so, I hate using this word all the time, stressful, but and I realize, looking at things and looking at the way I have been the last little while, I have been convinced, and I convinced myself this isn't, that if I could get a YouTube channel going, if I could get the best equipment that I could find, and I scrape money together, um, it just, the equipment means nothing. I, what's more important is people. And I got news yesterday that somebody who I'd been close with too for a while in my youth um, passed away. And both he and his wife were very uh, instrumental in things in a season of my life. And I look on that season as, yeah, it was really good. And they were very special. He's gone. He's no longer with us. I can't go to him and say, you know what? You were special back then, and I thank you for being part of my life. And again, that's realization that it's not places, it's people. Uh, I can't wait to get back to Britain, get back to Canada from here, and be able to go see the wife and just give her a hug and say thank you. It, just being able to have a platform to open up really helps. Um, Gotta stop saying but we do these things. Remember, the important thing around us is people. The people that mean things to us, people that we care about, people that we share with. Just forget about places. I was used to think it was cool that I could say I've been to 30 some odd countries. Truth be known, a good number of those when I was 3 years old, and I don't, or 2.5, and I don't remember a thing. But still, your priorities. I thought it meant more that I could say I've been to X number of countries, when what really meant more is the people I've been able to share things with in my life. Um, People I want to grow old with. Yeah, I'm 70. People say you're old already. Well, let's just say people I want to grow older with. You know, I realize, and I've said this before and I'll say it again now, I would much rather sit and watch um, a movie or something with Kathy at home than to be wandering around. Yeah, it's great that I'm seeing these places again, and I'm very thankful to Lana for buying me the ticket for coming here because I needed to. Didn't realize that on the first day here, it would just all click into place. Um, yeah, by myself, it's a little, I don't know if lonely is the right word, daunting, but I really wish I had Kathy sitting beside me and sharing these things with her and being able to just be part of her life and her part of my life while I'm doing these things. Anyway, I've talked too long. I will cut it here and I will post this, and hopefully I see everybody soon. I get back home and we'll go from there. Thanks, everybody. This is Steve saying, yeah, goodbye.